All right. Looks like the meeting started recording. Thank everyone for coming in today, both in person and virtual. Appreciate your time. There's been a lot of work done by this group, and I personally want to say thanks to everybody. Director Stroker and Mr. Held here, they both helped hold my hand and help walk me through this, and I appreciate you all for your help. Everybody's help here has been tremendous to make this work. We've obviously worked the bulk of the summer and then obviously part of the fall time where we're at right now. So thank everybody for their help. I'd like to call this meeting to order so we can get it started. We'll start with a roll call. If you can just please acknowledge if you are here or in person. Legislative Liaison Grant Mitchell.
Present.
Thank you. I'm here. Senator Bo Watson.
I am here virtually.
Thank you so much, Senator. Appreciate it. Mr. John Gleason.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Judge Statham. No, Judge Statham has a conference that's kicking off, so might be tied up with that. Okay, understand. Assistant Director Nell.
I'm here.
Thank you so much, Sinison. Representative Hazelwood.
Here.
Thank you so much. Director Connor.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank everybody for coming. Is there any members that I might have inadvertently skipped off?
We do not have a Senate Judiciary Committee appointee.
Okay.
So but minus that, we do have a quorum.
Okay, we got enough for a quorum.
Yeah.
All right.
A physical
Good deal.
quorum.
Again, thank everybody for their participation being with us both in person and virtual. I want to offer up the approval of minutes from September 13th, the task force meeting. Those have been distributed obviously in person, but James, if you can share that virtually so the members virtually can see those.
Yes.
And we'll have that up on the screen here just momentarily for everybody to review. And then we'll work on approving the minutes.
This is Senator Watson, move to adopt.
He moves to adopt of the minutes.
Senator moves to adopt. Thank you, sir.
Second.
All right, Representative Hazelwood seconds. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I
Aye.
appreciate it. What we'll do next, since the minutes have been approved and adopted, we'll move on to the actual proposed report.
Can you take that off the screen?
Sorry.
There you go.
All
All right, I have that.
right. Mr. Hale's going to get the actual report pulled up so we can share it, and we'll run through it real quick.
For those in the public, can you see the screen okay?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Travis, it's Elizabeth. Just to sum up the differences in this report and the one that we discussed 2 weeks ago, the only difference are some minor grammar changes or formatting changes, as well as including the information from the treasurer's office that was requested in the actual bill itself. So everything else is the same, and there were no substantive changes in the report itself.
We're having just a slight audio, but what I was going to sum up, Elizabeth said she has corrected grammar changes and stuff like that because everybody worked together on it. Am I summing up?
I apologize. We're not doing that.
Okay.
Let's see.
I believe she said the report that we walked through last week, the only changes she's made since we all saw it last week were some grammar issues, and they added the data from the Department of Treasury on the first half of the report.
That's correct.
That's
There
correct.
are a couple
That's
of,
correct.
I think just typo kind of things that I noticed the first bullet, the current definition of emergency and proposed change. I think that should be changes. The definition.
Good catch. Fix that now.
Okay.
And then,
Oh yeah, I copied those straight out of the bill language, so I don't know if we want to mirror the bill language or amend it. So either way
Are
is
they
fine.
coming through the speakers? That's interesting. I apologize, everybody. I don't, yeah, John's got it. No, good call.
We're trying to get the audio up, Elizabeth, and I apologize. We having a tough time hearing you. So if you'll hold that just for a second.
Elizabeth, do you mind repeating that?
Yeah, I was just saying that, I copied that language straight out of the bill itself. So, I don't know if we wanted to use it as being the same or make any grammar changes to it or not, but I just copied it straight out of the public chapter. And that may be why it said changed instead of changes. If that, it doesn't really matter either way, but if we wanted to keep it consistent.
This is John Gleason. The public chapter says changes with an S, so I think, and grammatically, it would be changes with an S on the first bullet.
Perfect.
Oh.
Thank you.
I made that change and.
All right,
we'll
that
make sure-
change's been there. We'll keep scrolling through. Obviously, this is the data that we were provided.
If we're gonna go in order, can we go back to the beginning?
Yes.
Yes,
So on County Officials Association, the A in association needs to be capitalized, and of Tennessee needs to be added after the word association. Then,
can you repeat the of just one more time? Just
yeah,
make-
so the A in association needs to be capitalized, and then
Got it.
after the word association, it needs to say of Tennessee, spelled
Okay.
out, Tennessee being capitalized. And then it says, comma, a member of the, and then the word Tennessee capitalized needs to be inserted before General Sessions Judges Conference.
Done. Good catch.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
All right.
Does the rest of the paragraph look okay?
Yeah, I don't have anything for the rest of the paragraph.
All right. And moving down to the second bullet point. This is obviously some data that was provided to us, and Treasury, thank you all for getting that to us. I really appreciate it. Any changes needed there, or everybody? Okay, we'll move to the third bullet point.
So the third one,
Yes.
I think we need to remove the after any future projections of the monthly claims.
Okay. And just say of monthly claim.
Of monthly claims, that's the public chapter.
All right, we'll strike through that.
Done.
All right, the next bullet point below the chart that's there, the number of claims.
So this one, the first one, I'm not entirely sure about. This is a question for the AFC, but should the O in order be capitalized or should that be lowercase? In court order. Because I get why affidavit of indigency is capitalized because we're talking about, that's the name of the form, but a court order could be lots of different types of things. So I didn't know if we wanted that O to remain capitalized or not.
I mean, it's not a specific court order, so it just could be capital C and then lowercase o, so, if you're,
Yeah.
just a phrase.
So I would move that we change that O to a lowercase o.
Okay.
If the group is good with that, I'm gonna.
And then similarly, I think form in incomplete form should be lowercase. And I think the I in ineligible and the P in provider should be lowercase. And I think the I in IE should be lowercase. And we may even want to consider moving that up to the line with other, say other, and then open parentheses, it est, form completed erroneously, multiple items marked in error. As one line, but that's up to the. It's fine.
So just, if I take this, just put it up here like this.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I would, if we're gonna do that, I'd probably make form lowercase as well.
Sounds good. Yeah, for those following along, I'm just making this all in red so people can review that.
Any other discussion for that bullet point for the group, online or in person? All right. we'll
Hello.
move on to- Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm with the Tennessee Department of Correction. I know I'm not a part of the group, but on that second bullet point, is it supposed to say court order not received or incomplete or on incomplete?
Good catch.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on to the next bullet point, the average payment per claim.
This is Erica now with the Treasury Department. Can we change that to the average payment per invoice?
Okay.
In the top, because that is a per invoice claim. You know, one
I
claim
see.
can't have multiple invoices.
I think the reason that was there was because the public chapter says.
Oh, okay,
The average payments per claim, but I'm
okay.
fine with changing it, but.
I'm fine. We mentioned that it's per invoice in the detail below it, so it's fine. A claim is what a person makes, and then we pay invoices, per month on these devices.
But if you're talking about claim, is the dollar figure correct? You're telling me the dollar.
We didn't have a way to get that in a easily attainable amount where we aggregate all the claims per person. So we just did the average per invoice.
Figures based on the invoice, I'd suggest, and then we change it to per invoice instead of per claim.
All right, does the group agree that change claim to invoice? We'll take a vote on that. Anybody wants to make a
Yep.
motion?
The
Go
only point I would raise is then I think to Chairman Watson's point he made last week,
Yes.
we're not then answering the question that was posed to us.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to manually get our staff to add up every number, and then we're gonna have to do quite a bit of calculations to get the average payment per claim.
Can you do it asterisk, just that then you can explain that claims wasn't readily available yet, invoices, what, like, maybe that should just.
Yeah, I think you could make a blurb that says that data wasn't available before. And then this was, I don't know if a member wants to suggest that, but
I think then we keep the average payments per claim. We say for fiscal year 2022, the average payment per invoice on all approved invoices was $122.96, and then we explain why we're talking about invoices and not claims. I don't know exactly what that language after the dollar figure needs to say, but.
I'm gonna put a placeholder here, but that's
Erica, while we're working through this, do you mind giving us the verbiage to put there? Is that an option?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, that way we can get this
Let me
thing
just think through it
approved.
real quick.
All right,
yeah, so we'll put a pin on that and
we'll get
follow
this done, I'd like to have this done.
Yep, I agree.
I know everybody would. All right, so we're going to table that while you come up with some verbiage for that. The length of time for which a device may be covered by the Electronic Monitoring Entity Fund.
So I think it should say most devices are covered for 12 months period. Capital T, there are some situations where coverage is extended based on, and then I think it probably should be lowercase amended, lowercase court, lowercase order, typically for lowercase non-compliance. And then I believe we should spell out the word department and remove the period and the abbreviation. So it reads department, or perhaps we should even add the Department of Safety approves extensions for, and again, I think that I and interlock should be lowercase.
I think I got all that, just making sure. Assuming everybody's good with this, I'm just going to Do you want this all capitalized, John, or is that,
Well, non-compliant should be lowercase,
okay?
and then,
Department. of
Department-
Safety, the applicant.
yeah, Department of Safety, I'm a toss-up on, because in statute, we lowercase it, but I'm fine with it being uppercase.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily copying from the statute at, that point.
John, does that look good?
Yes.
All right, any more discussion on that bullet point? All right, let's move to options for sustainable funding. That bullet point, any discussion? We see that also has some recommendations with it. All right, here none, we'll just keep easing on down the page. Just going to discuss our meetings that we've held. Include this one. All right. We've held them in person with video conference options. And the following considerations were given a positive recommendation by the task force. I want to make sure we're in line with recommendation number 1. And should we update the date to September 13th to today, or since this is the final report?
Yeah, we can do that. It's a good idea.
All right. Recommendation number 1, any more discussion on it?
The only thing I would suggest, because I'm a fan of it, is the Oxford comma after household considerations. So it would read income thresholds, comma, household considerations, comma, and other factors.
That sounds good.
Any more discussion for line 1? Let's go to item number 2 if no more discussion. No discussion there. We'll go to number 3.
The only thing I thought was perhaps state should be lowercase, since we're not necessarily saying the state of Tennessee, we're just saying the state's budget. I'll defer to Shirley.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Number 4.
Yeah, I went back and forth on that. So we're capitalizing Department of Safety, so.
Just consistent with each other.
All right.
Item 5,
Yes.
we say recommend requiring periodic reporting. We don't say to whom and what kind of report. That's just incredibly vague. I think we need to be a little bit more specific on that.
Should it be like operations of the fund to the General Assembly and the governor, or?
Hey Grant, I don't know if y'all can hear me, but this was the one that was discussed last week about potentially reports coming to maybe the content or the General Assembly to keep it vague because they weren't sure where that report may go. So just a backstory on why we landed on that language last week, but I think there were some concerns about putting something in code or in the recommendation that may need to be changed later.
A good point. Yeah.
If we want some more specificity, perhaps we could say recommend requiring periodic reporting on the electronic monitoring indigency fund, subject to a determination made by the General Assembly, or some sort of language that makes it clear that we want the General Assembly to decide how often and to whom the report is given.
I just put a blurb up that describes that suggestion. If anyone has thoughts on it.
I think that's better because I think just saying report, it's fairly worthless.
Okay. Any more discussion on that? We'll move on to number 6. And no discussion on number 6, then we will move on to the recommendation, or the task force recommends the General Assembly conduct additional study on the following items.
I think there should be a space between the line, following items and number one, just so we're consistent with what we did in the recommendation.
As far as formatting, so hit enter after the colon there.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
All right.
I want that.
Okay. All right.
On a date on that one is like we had on the other one as to when the recommendations were made.
Are you saying?
Oh, like today's date?
Like we had on the first.
Yes. I'm fine if we put today's date in there.
Okay, so we could say task force recommended on September, or
So maybe the task force additionally recommended on September 21st, 2022, that the General Assembly conduct additional study on the following items.
that looks good.
Thank you. All right, so we look at number one. Any discussion on number one?
Yes. Right now we say for DUI court fines and fees for a DUI. I just thought maybe that was a lot of extra fours, so potentially we could say the General Assembly should consider allowing DUI court fines and fees to be paid. And then I think we need a that between requirement and fines. So it would say, rather than the current requirement, that fines and fees be paid.
I'm gonna just. I got it.
You're gonna want to keep that too, James.
The General Assembly should consider allowing DUI court fines and fees to be paid through, yeah.
Then that between requirement and fines. I also don't have a,
But I'm not sure, I'm not following that one, but if you wanna,
Put a that right there.
yeah, so it says currently it says rather than the current requirement, fines and fees be paid. I believe it should say rather than the current requirement, that fines and fees be paid.
okay,
And you ditch that comma.
Yeah.
okay. And you want requirement singular?
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah.
Good deal. Any more discussion on item one? All right, we'll move on to item number two, if none, hearing none. None on item number two, hearing none, we'll move on to item number three. Conversation on item number three. We will move on to item number four.
Understand why it's picky, but why you have other in front of non-ignition. It's two state funds, one fund for ignition and unlock devices, one fund for non-ignition.
That works. That's a
That
good
works.
catch.
Thank you. All
Okay.
right. Item number four, item number five.
We want to add the word funds in between indigency and program.
Yes, I like that. Okay. All right, can we go back up to where Miss Erica was? I think the rest of us just voting members, what I seen there.
Yep, and I just posted some language in the chat. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yes, we'll pull it out of the chat. We'll,
We can change it however anyone wants to, but just a suggestion. I propose we replace both of the sub bullets with this single one.
Put in the formatting.
we'll adjust the format in there. Okay. So, Eric, I want to make sure I understand that you're saying this bullet point, you'd like to see if we could substitute it for,
That one as well, yeah.
I'll just delete it.
what's the group's thoughts, since we're having a pretty substantive change there? Obviously, we're providing some more clarity. Is it any discussion on that? Give you time to digest that?
Okay, that there could be multiple invoices per claim.
That's correct.
Fine.
Typically, there's monthly invoices per claim is what we usually expect.
I think this is John Gleason. I still think we need something that says something along the lines of, because there can be monthly multiple invoices per claim, the average payments per claim were not readily available, or the task force was not able to calculate the amount in our given, something to that effect, explaining why we're giving what we're giving instead of payments per claim.
And just for clarification for me to make sure I understand, the 122.96 is the average monthly payment. But we're saying you could have, you're on this program for 12 months and you could have 12 payments. So 12 times 122.96 would be the claim amount. Or are we saying that some claims might be 122.96 for the first of the month, and there might be additional claims per month? I'm just real fuzzy on what you're telling me here.
It's $122.96 per invoice. So we typically get one invoice per month per device. So yes, you typically would get, on average, everyone just did 12 months and adhered to their 12 months. It would be 122.96 times 12. That not all devices are 12 months, and some are longer than 12 months if there's an extension. So
This is James Held. I just highlighted what John kind of threw out verbally, but want to see if this is sufficient to the group.
Would we want to put monthly invoice in there to kind of make that clear? And then you can figure if I've got a 6-month device or a 12-month device or a 15-month device, you can. That's just, and I'm sure it's just ignorance on my part, but it's still just kind of flirty.
Yeah.
So I could add, and I'll defer to Erica if this would still be accurate, but if I put the monthly average payment per approved invoice, does that
That's
change
fine.
it?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Yep.
And John, does this kind of encapsulate what you were picturing? And do members support that?
Can I be really picky and make monthly into between per and approved, so the
Sure.
average payment per monthly approved invoice?
Absolutely.
On the second line, can we add the word while before the word invoices?
Um,
Yes, I've got FSAG now.
Okay.
I'm good with the changes we've made.
You're good. All right, we'll take a quick vote on them. All in favor of this proposed change? If there's any other discussion, any other discussion on this bullet point? If somebody wants to make a motion, we'll,
Make a motion to approve the changes we just made outlined in red on the current draft.
all right, good deal. Got a motion?
Second.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, so obviously got a positive recommendation on the report. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for your time, Chair. Thank you. All right, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. There's been a lot of work put into this, so thank you.
This is James Held, only I put everybody's representatives if they're on the task force down here. Not a major part of the report, but if everybody feels comfortable with this part, speak now and forever hold your peace. Or if you want to change it, we can do that.
I'll ask them to actually go over.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I apologize that representing Tennessee County Services Association or county official, I think it's supposed to be Association of Tennessee.
Association of Tennessee County Services and Officials.
Represent Tennessee County Services Association or County Officials Association of Tennessee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate everybody's time and stuff. There's no changes and stuff. We'll,
Yeah, thank you to Captain Plotzer and James and Elizabeth and the team at Department of Safety for staffing this task force. Greatly appreciate it.
we've had some great partners and made some great friends along the way, so this has been good. Informative for all of us. So thank you all and everybody that's signed in, taking time to be here. I really appreciate it. Okay, so thank you all.
Thanks.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.